I'd like to tell you about the importance of having an effective customer complaint strategy. More information is available in our white paper, which you can download from this website. But just a question to start with, which is, why is it that on a car, the biggest dial that's there on the dashboard in front of you is the speedometer? What use is that really to help you drive more safely or to know about the conditions on the road ahead? None at all. Or another question, think about the Richter scale measuring earthquakes. How valuable is it really to measure the density and size and impact of an earthquake after it's happened? Surely the value is in knowing when it's coming and what you can do about it by way of preparation. And that question is exactly the same for how you manage customer complaints. Most organisations just tend to sit there and count the complaints, count the impact, count the cost of dealing with them. How many are really seriously thinking about how they prevent them and how they deal with the risks and the impact of them prior to them happening? When it comes to predicting earthquakes, there is actually a phenomenon called geosensology, which is where animals have a better understanding of a forthcoming earthquake than we tend to as humans with all of our technology available to us. Animals start pacing up and down, birds start flapping and getting panicked. And isn't that interesting that maybe that notion of panic, fear, anxiety is what we can sometimes see in customers before the complaint actually materialises in our business? How are we keeping an eye on the market, listening for that squawking, listening for that complaining, and thinking about how we can better deal with it and prevent the causes of it in the first place to drive a much more effective approach to mitigating the risks and the costs of complaints to our business? We used to be in a very fortunate position as businesses where our customers could largely be herded around, kept in queues. We could impose our processes and protocols on them, much like sheep. Well, it seems that now the sheep have become wolves. They're biting back, they're communal, they hunt in packs, and they're dangerous. And the reason is they've got this social world to be communal within and to kick up the storm if and when we as an organisation let them down. According to research that we have in Ember, about 20% of consumers have actually vented their anger or their frustration about an organisation online. And the reality is that just over half of people will actively not buy from an organisation if they've read a negative review from somebody else. That's a big risk for us about complaints and issues that maybe we haven't tapped into as an organisation. So the question is, are we just coping or are we learning from this? Are we tuning into our customers to understand what might be the causes of dissatisfaction that's affecting them that's created in our own business? Our people, our processes, our technology, our products. What is it that we can learn from this noise in the market and from the activity that's coming into our business to improve things, to prevent complaints, to drive a better trust and confidence in our organisation? The research included in our white paper on customer complaint strategies and how to make them more effective for you found that about only 31% of executives believe that they are effectively tuning into customer concerns, and that only 20% or so have an effective strategy for dealing with complaints. That's a pretty poor situation. And let's look at the numbers from the consumer's perspective. 69% of them will complain about poor service, but only 35% or so will believe that an organisation will do anything about that. And in some work that we undertook recently, between 35 and 40% of complaints that were coming in to an organisation were about the complaints process itself. This is crazy. And the numbers that should really concern an organisation are that 75% of people have ended a relationship as a result of poor service. And a staggering 20% of people will not even raise the issue of a complaint with a company. And that means that about £8.3 billion worth of goods and services are tolerated, yet failing in the customer's mind. What are we as organisations doing about this failure and our inability to deal with complaints and service effectively? As I mentioned just a few moments ago, I think we've got the metrics all wrong. We need to be thinking about how effective we are as organisations at driving through change and innovation as a result of the feedback and the messages we get from customers, not just counting the volume of the noise that they're making. And as organisations, we really only have two strategies to think about. One is mitigating the risk of poor service and the complaints that come from it. And the second is how we adapt and continually innovate our business. How flexible can we be at making sure that we're eliminating the future possibilities of complaints arising about the same things. This doesn't mean, of course, that we won't get issues arising as a business, but we should be learning. We should be having strategies that drive through continual improvement. We should be tuning into our customers and making sure that we have the very best focus across our wider business on improving our service and capability, our products and our people for their service. The real issue of a complaint management strategy is that it's not about the phone calls you get or the emails that you receive from customers who have a problem. It's about how we as an organisation tap into that wider set of feedback available to us. What customers are saying in the social space, what they're saying to each other about us. These are the important questions that we have, and that's why complaint management strategies are really a question of brand. It's about how we shape and drive trust and confidence in us as an organisation. We have a white paper that we'd love you to read, and if you need help and want to have further thoughts and discussions around customer complaint management strategies for your business, we'd love to have that conversation.